Hello to all my lovers, winners, and dreamers. Arrgh. Welcome back to KiKi with GiGi, a show where we dive in to the chronically unexplored aspects of human consciousness. I'm your host, GiGi La Tormenta. So far, we've explored the shadow and the persona, two polar opposites that exist within our psyche. Today, I want to explore another duality or another polarity within our consciousness. And this particular polarity has a direct link to a much more universal concept of duality itself. And that is masculine and feminine, yin and yang, light and dark, pull and push. Do you see where I'm going with this? So whereas the shadow and the persona are kind of like the front and back ends, I see the masculine and feminine as more as like a left and a right. Because if we're really thinking about this like on like a real ass scientific level, our brain is literally split into two hemispheres. One is associated with more masculine qualities like logic and analytics and, you know what I'm saying, like reasoning and those kinds of things. While the function of the right hemisphere of the brain is associated with more feminine qualities like creativity and like emotion and those kinds of things. So it's like each individual person is a unique blend of both, because yes, we do have both masculine and feminine, okay? There is really no such thing as being so far on one side of the binary that the other is just completely not there, okay? We've already covered with the persona and the psyche that if there's one that is dominant, the other is recessive, but it's still there and it's still influencing, even if it's unconscious. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. You know, it's not an absolute, but generally speaking, regarding masculine and feminine energy, most people are dominant in one or the other. Me personally, I'm obviously dominant in feminine energy, but I do feel this kind of like underlying fluidity that I don't know, it's just always been there. I don't know if that makes me gender non-conforming or gender fluid or what. But I don't really care at the end of the day, because like I'm just me. You know what I mean? Like some days I will be very dressed up and beautiful because I'm feeling very feminine and very, you know what I'm saying, like I'm feeling it. And other days I'm just like a gremlin in like an oversized tee. With like crazy hair and shit. And other days I'm like very butch and wearing like leather and you know what I mean? Like even like performing as like butch, like performing more masculine. Like I can't even do it right now because like hey dude. No. I'm just not in that mode right now, so it doesn't is not resonating with who I am in this moment. But yeah, I definitely do think there's like a level of importance and significance in this, especially in regards to like personal development. Just within Jungian psychology alone, where we get the ideas of the shadow and the persona, we also have the anima and animus. And that's basically the idea of the masculine's inner feminine or the feminine inner masculine. And so that's basically the idea that's being explored here with the anima and animus. It's that like um, basically accepting the idea that everyone is dominant in one or the other, but that also inherently means that whichever one that is not dominant, rather the one that is recessive, is still there buried, and actually creating this kind of like universal image. Well, it's universal to the individual because it's based off of, cultural influences, genetic memory, etc., etc. So it's like, say if you're a dominant mask, you have within you the seed of like the pure feminine. You know what I mean? Like And this might manifest like in your dreams, like the feminine figures you come across in your dream. And it also directly impacts your idea of the perfect feminine figure or the perfect woman or, whatever. The she, he, theys, and all individuals of gender appropriations. And vice versa. If your energy and your persona is dominantly feminine, then the masculine will live in the shadow. And it will pull some strings. Any masculine figures that you encounter in your dreams, or even your idea of like the perfect man, you know what I mean? Like these are directly impacted by your anima or animus. So it's just something to keep in mind, because from a personal development standpoint, the idea that we're trying to build up to here is the harmonization of opposites. It's like, yes, there's yin and yang, light and dark. Like, yes, they're polar opposites, but really they are two sides of the same coin. And that is what it really is. Our little human mind likes to compartmentalize things, and you know what I mean, like give things labels and associations just to make more sense out of the absolute chaos that is always happening. The miracle of life. And the complete phenomena of existence, of reality. There's so many basic things that we don't even understand. So there's a saying that yin and yang are the sunny and shady side of a singular mountain. And that's kind of the whole, and that's kind of like the big picture idea here, is that yes, they're opposites, but they are only defined by their connection with each other. You know what I mean? How would you know what light is if you didn't know dark? How would you be able to discern the sweetness of love without feeling the bitterness of hate or the emptiness of indifference? So these are things to think about. These are things I think about alone in my room as I look out from my tower. So this kind of brings us to a more non-dual perspective. And me personally, I love non-dualism. I love the idea that, the opposites are just two sides of the same coin. It's only one coin at the end of the day. We split it in half to make sense, but its truth is that the unified whole contains within it contradictions and paradoxes. And so it's like, yeah, sure, two sides of the same coin. What am I supposed to do with this information? Self-actualize, ho! You are to self-actualize. You are to reconcile the opposites within you, integrate them to achieve maximum harmony. And I don't mean harmony as in like meditating under a tree half asleep. I mean harmony as in like all of the parts that make you up are working together rather than against each other. They're working in harmony rather than in conflict, because when they're in conflict, that's when you get self-sabotage and confusion and cognitive dissonance. So, you know what I'm saying? If you're really serious about progressing on your path, your unique and specific path, this is a fundamental action to take, or this is a fundamental thing to practice. Harmony of opposites, balance, moderation. That way, you can fully actualize your potential. Do you see what I mean? If you limit yourself to one side or the other, you are ultimately limiting your potential, because without wholeness, what are you but fragmented? So you might be asking, GiGi, this is all really nice and cute and very, very interesting, but how do I apply this in my life? You know what I mean? Like, what's the practical application? Well, girl, I'm so glad you asked. First, you'd want to start by identifying what it is that is dominant within you. If you are a more masculine person, if you are a more feminine person, if you consider yourself to be light, if you consider yourself to be dark, identify what is dominant traits within yourself. And so by identifying your dominant traits, you are also identifying the polar opposite of those. Because you can't have one without the other, and that's the whole point of duality. It is two and it is always two, but the two is never two, it's actually one. This is so random, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but the word alone is low-key all one. There is no two, because if it was two, you wouldn't be alone, so it's all one. I don't know if that's, like, correct. I don't know if I'm, like, reaching here, or if that's, like, etymologically, like, if you can back that up etymologically, but that's just something that occurred to me just now. So yeah, that was a little bit of a tangent, but back to the topic at hand. Already this is giving you information as to what is in your shadow, because the whole point of the shadow is that it's outside of your conscious awareness. You are literally not aware of its contents nor how it's affecting you. The only way to discern this is by, I really hate to use the word mindfulness because it's like, be mindful. But like, literally be mindful of, literally be mindful and keep an eye out for your patterns of behavior. That is where the influence of the shadow comes out. Because it's like, yes, you got free will and you're doing you day by day by day, but if you zoom out, you will start to see patterns that you didn't even notice, that you didn't even know you were doing. And that is the idea that we're capturing here. It's like we're becoming aware of that, integrating it so that we may be more whole. You feel me? So it's a really cute idea. I don't know. I just wanted to explore that today, and I don't know, just kind of like just go crazy. Yeah. So self-actualization. That's what it's all about. For me, at least. Self-actualization and liberation. Freedom. And that's the whole point. It's like, the more you become aware, bitch. The more you know. The less you believe in, the more you know. Okay? It's about clarity. It's about truth. Liberation. Growth. Evolution! So one way that I actually put this into practice, this is so embarrassing. I'm like being so vulnerable showing this. But I actually, so like, let's think about it. Light, dark, masculine, and feminine. That's essentially 4 little sections. We've got light masculine and light feminine, as well as dark masculine and dark feminine. And I've taken the liberty to, lay them out and, assign archetypes that I felt like were best for them, like my dark masculine. Because I'm such like a beautiful light feminine character, my dark masculine is like the deepest recesses of my shadow. And so let's look what I have. We've got straight up demon, but we've also got alchemist and shadow diver and wolf and warrior and strategist. So that's really cool. And for the light feminine, we have angel, healer, and the dark feminine, we have siren. I actually feel like dark feminine is like the skin that I wear, but I'm actually like a light feminine girly. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I'm just a girl. So yeah, that's basically how I put that into practice. It's like by becoming aware of these different parts that make me up, I'm actually able to increase my awareness, expand my awareness, and directly perceive them interacting. And sometimes they're not always in harmony. Sometimes they're very much at conflict, and I feel like I have to play the diplomat. Because at the end of the day, you have persona, shadow, masculine, feminine, this, that, whatever, but at the center of it all, at the core of it all, you have the self. This is something that is greater than the sum of its parts. It's like who you truly are, your whole self, your true self. And it's not neither one or the other, but it's like all of them, and at the same time, none of them. And so I think that is the part of us that is like actually where the awareness comes from. yeah, there's just something that I contemplate a lot. So by becoming aware of these like parts of myself, I've actually been able to engage in conflict resolution. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm able to see which sides of me are more dominant when I feel safe, which sides of me are more dominant when I don't feel safe. You know what I mean? I think I've already said this before, but it's like you're a diamond, okay? You have several facets to you, and that's what makes a diamond brilliant, baby. So it's like embrace it. Become aware of it, integrate it, become more whole, become more you, become more authentically you. So yeah, that's my rant, that's my invitation. If this really sparks something in you and you're curious as to, you know what I'm saying, like if you want me to elaborate on anything, you can always message me on Instagram. And my tag is my name, GiGi La Tormenta. But if you don't feel like asking me, ask anyone else. Ask your therapist. Ask Google. Ask ChatGPT. I don't give a damn as long as you're doing the work, baby. Because it's worth it. And so are you. Ciao. Mwah.